Is the Strait of Hormuz closed again? This is your Firewatch report, recorded the morning of June 19th. So a lot's happened overnight. Let's get into it. So as of this morning, June 19th, it's being reported that Iran has closed the Strait of Hormuz once again. So far, I'm not really seeing where the mainstream media has picked up the story, but it is being reported on X by OSINT Defender. So what's been posted is a recording of a message that's allegedly being broadcast by Iran into the Strait of Hormuz. So as you listen to it, you'll see at the bottom of the screen where it's been translated into English.
اینجا نیروی دریایی پای پاسداران از آنجا که اسرائیل از لبنان و لغو کامل محاصره دریایی و خروج نیروهای تروریستی آمریکایی از خلیج فارس و منطقه از جمله شرایط اصلی توافق بین ایران و ایالات متحده تا زمان تحقق این دو شرط بسته خواهد ماند. به همه کشتی‌ها دستور داده شده برای امنیت و سلامت خود به تنگه هرمز نزدیک نشوند. هر شناوری که از این دستور سرپیچی کند مورد هدف قرار خواهد گرفت. اینجا نیروی دریایی.
So that's pretty interesting. We'll see if this actually pans out, whether the strait really is closed or not. So apparently they don't like the fact that Israel has launched attacks against Hezbollah in Lebanon overnight. So the Strait of Hormuz being closed again is going to mean that we're not going to get any kind of relief for the impending supply shortage. There's not going to be any replacement of any of the oil and natural gas or any other petroleum products as we continue to use them. It's being reported that the first round of talks between the U.S. and Iran that was supposed to take place today, June 19th, in Switzerland, it's not going to happen. CNBC is reporting that according to the White House, Vice President J.D. Vance is no longer traveling to Switzerland because of unresolved logistical issues surrounding the negotiations. I also found an AP article that says that the White House made this announcement last night, shortly after Iran said that they're not sending a team to Switzerland for the first round of talks that were supposed to happen today. And apparently they're unhappy because of Israel's ongoing military action in Lebanon. Both of these stories show us that Iran is serious about wanting to shield their terrorist BFF Hezbollah as much as possible. I think that Iran is also using them as an excuse to not act in good faith. Point one of the MOU is a poison pill. It requires Israel to let Hezbollah do what they want. We all know that Iran is going to ignore anything that their terrorist proxies do. That's how it's worked for decades. But as soon as Israel even complains about it, it's the end of the world as far as Iran is concerned. I'm not saying that Israel doesn't get up to some shady shit, but they do have the right to defend themselves from terrorists. I think that we're going to continue to see this kind of stuff go on. It's no telling how long the sides are going to continue to play this game of back and forth provocation in an attempt to drag out the negotiation process, all while accomplishing nothing more than run out the clock with nothing to show for it on the diplomatic front. So what's the point? Not long ago, President Trump triggered the Defense Production Act because the United States is running low on munitions. It was reported that President Trump sent a memo to Hegseth on June 11th saying that the president has found that, quote, conditions may pose a direct threat to national defense and preparedness programs, end quote, and said the reasons were, quote, limited production capability, fragile supply chains, long lead dependencies, and related production bottlenecks, according to Reuters. So it sounds to me like we're running out. For several years now, the U.S. has been shipping arms to Ukraine quite literally faster than we can make them. Combine that with our own recent military adventures, and this adds up to a whole lot of boom. Pundits have been warning us for a while that usage is outpacing replacement. It's absolutely possible this fact played into the acceptance of this highly divisive MOU. President Trump could be just trying to hit pause while we replenish our munition supplies. I think almost anyone would agree that it looks like that this deal has about as much chance of survival as a snowball here in our Texas heat. I think these news reports can show us that if there's one thing that we can take from all this as preppers, it's that everything is in flux. We can see just how rapidly things can change day to day. And to prove that point, after Israel was attacking Hezbollah in Lebanon last night that triggered all of these other things, CBS is now reporting that this morning the two sides have entered into a ceasefire. How long will that last? Who knows? Will it last more than a day or two? I would say the chances aren't good. Now, am I saying that it's not going to last? No, I'm not saying that, but I certainly wouldn't bet the farm on it. Speaking of farms, I also wouldn't count on there being an overabundance of food later this year. With the Strait of Hormuz being closed today and no way of knowing about tomorrow, we have to assume that the projected future shortages are still in the cards. Even if things go perfectly according to President Trump's plan, things will not get back to normal quickly. Fertilizer and fuel supplies will still be low. Both of these things are having negative impacts on farmers worldwide. There have been reports of farmers here in the United States that are saying that they're not going to plant this spring. They're saying it's just not worth it financially. Farming is expensive with razor-thin margins at best. With fertilizer prices skyrocketing, these margins are evaporating. The best thing that we can do to blunt the pain of rising food prices and potential shortages down the road are to stock up and plant gardens. I would encourage you to buy a couple of extra cans of food on your grocery shopping trips. I know rising prices are making that a lot less affordable, and there isn't much that we can do about that. But spending the extra dollar or two on another can of green beans today is better than possibly paying $5 a can later down the road. As far as a garden, if you live in the country, it's obviously easier to do that than if you live in a city. Plant what you can. In a city, as long as you have room for a pot or two of soil, you can at least grow some herbs. There are plenty of YouTube videos about urban gardening that can help you get started. The more you grow on your own, the better off you are. It costs less if it's growing in your backyard, and then you don't have to worry about not being able to find it at the grocery store. If you want me to make a video and talk more about backyard gardening, just let me know in the comments. Other than that, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Please like, share, and subscribe. It helps the channel grow so that others can take advantage of this information too.